This is one of my rare morning appearances. It's 7:30. I'm in Canada, or Canada, as the Canadians say. And until today, we've had clear blue skies, and this morning it's gray and there's fog everywhere. I think it's actually imported London fog. So I'm going to remake my cloudbuster. See if I can extend the cloudless skies later into the fall. Vancouver's famous for its rain, but the rain hasn't hit yet. What I wanted to talk about is, in blunt terms, who's going to replace all the people like myself in the next generation. I have about 1,300 subscribers, so I would assume that you're at least mildly interested in this kind of material. I have a video series called 10,000 Points of Light, Cloned Avatars Speak. And after you hear this video, I would like you to go and look at that. I put it up perhaps too subtly, but there are I think 55 different people there, and they all look the same, and they're all doing the same kind of work, and they're all the same age. And there's a thing called the cycle of Uranus. Every 165 years the pole of Uranus points directly at the Earth, and it allows men of higher purpose to enter the solar system. And if you do the math backwards, Yeshua of Nazareth was one of these people who was released at one of these time periods. So all of us are in our 60s, and our clocks are running out, and I'm wondering who's going to replace us. The pharaonic dynasty which rules the world can take its time, and I think they're just going to wait for all of us to die out. And the dumbing down of the world is rapidly progressing. Who's going to have the intellect and the literacy and the drive to carry on with this esoteric march to soul freedom? I wonder. I have a brochure that I give out, and I mentioned that a couple of years ago on a video, and asked if anyone would like a copy of the files so they could make them up, and only one person answered me. I made up some medical devices and asked for people's support in purchasing these things, and 4 people bought things. And the point of it was not to sell medical devices, but to support my work and give you something usable if they actually do try to pull off the worldwide genocide with bioweapons. So, be that as it may, I played the keyboards. I was playing organ in a church a few years back. And the minister there said basically something like, someone has something to say here and he knows who he is, so stand up. And this young kid jumped up and began to testify. So what this video is about is, out of the 1,200 plus subscribers that I have, if you know that you're someone who should be doing esoteric work, you need to start doing that now. I've been doing this here for 13,500 years, but I wasn't woken up this lifetime until I was around 20 years old. I was a keyboard player in a 60s band around the time of the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Dave Clark Five, Jimi Hendrix, stuff like that. And I went to Europe with a rock band, and we got signed by a label, but we broke up after we had one record out, like most bands do. At that time there was no history of rock bands. It was a new phenomenon. And one of the things that happened to me when I came back, I was kind of floating around aimlessly. I went to a lecture by Dr. Richard Alpert, who's a psychologist from America, and he had gone to Europe to study under a guru after he had been with Timothy Leary for a while experimenting with LSD, and he realized there was states of higher consciousness, and he thought the heart of the information might lie in India, so he went to India. And I heard him speaking on the radio, and his voice tone was very unusual because he was speaking completely honestly and with no agenda. I never heard that tone of voice before. So I went to the lecture, and he was talking about sleeping mankind and the possibility of being awake and higher consciousness, which I had never been exposed to before or thought about. So I left there kind of scratching my head. And from that moment on, things began to come to me in accelerating progression. I ran into a drummer who gave me a book by Peter Uspensky called A New Model of the Universe, which talks about the 10-dimensional universe, among other things. And I read the rest of his books, and he had GURDJIEFF was his teacher, so I read the GURDJIEFF material, and RODNEY COLIN was the main student of PUSPENSKY, so I read all his material. And I managed to hook up with a fourth way school, and actually did the work, which is requires some intellect and some faith and some drive and the ability to put aside life, or life as given in the slave society in which we live. I've put out, I think, almost 350 videos. In veiled terms have offered the fact that there is a school here of higher consciousness, and no one has shown up or inquired. I know it's hard to leave your city. It's very convenient if the school is located in your city. But how that actually happens is you make sure that you're born into that city, which is why some people lucked out and there was a school in the city that they live in. And the rest of you have to make the payment of moving to where there is a school. That's part of the work. The difficulty of doing that is part of extracting yourself from your mechanical slavery. So I'm a little trepidatious. It's a form of fearfulness that there won't be another generation of people disseminating this stuff. And historically, I noticed that good things always appear 30 to 50 years before they're actually needed, and they're gone by the time everyone wakes up to the fact that that's something that we need. So, is this you? And if so, would you please send me an email to that effect? It's gotten to the point where my account is being messed with. Videos are disappearing. They changed the name of my YouTube account without asking me. And I have a list of favorites, which is hard-hitting and killer videos by other people like me who are the best in their fields. So I just put their video in a list of favorites as something that people should look at, and that's the purpose of that list. There's a vast education there, and it's now been put into private, and I can't find out how to unlock it and make it public again. If anyone knows how to do this, let me know. Also, I've been told by some of my subscribers they're no longer receiving notifications when I put up a new video. So if this is not true, could you email me and let me know? This is important for you people out there. Not for me, because I already have all this data. Very soon, all my videos / lectures, or whatever you want to call them, will be available on CDs. These videos, there's a vast amount of information I wanted to get out, and I did them in an order that was in a response to the current BS that was coming out on YouTube at the time. So the topics are broken up because I would see something in the exopolitics community that was not true, so I did a video about that. And my policy is not to debunk people, but just to put out the data that needs to be there. But this can make it quite difficult to follow because they're random videos with capricious titles. And it's going to be put together by topics, and there'll probably be around 20 CDs, which you can play in your car or play while you're doing your housework. And I like to do this like Alex Jones does it, is if you want to support me, you buy a set and you're welcome to make copies and give them to your friends. This is being done by one of my supporters in England, who actually is quite close to the school without her realizing it. So I used to be with a marketing company, consulting firm, and what I would like to do is a survey for price of this. If you're interested in this, let me know what you think would be a reasonable price to have all of my videos in one collection. Based on the physical fact, I think there's 20 or more actual physical CDs which will need to be actually physically created and shipped, versus what other people seem to think that their video collections are worth. So in that way it will make sense to you, rather than me just picking a price range. I'm also looking at having a citizenship paper for Newtopia and Newtopians. Utopia is the reestablishment of the one world government that was here before the fall of civilization, and therefore has legal precedence over the degraded nation states we have now. The upside of that is the laws of the nation states won't apply to citizens of Newtopia, and all citizens of Newtopia are ambassadors and therefore will have diplomatic immunity. So that may be something you might want to have. So I think I will include the citizenship paper with the DVD collection. Now I want you to look at a couple of videos. Since I can't access my favorites, I'll put the links below this video. One of them is called AIDS, the Crime Beyond Belief, which is about something called mycoplasma, which is something they use to create bioweapons, and they're trying to keep it under the table that this stuff even exists. And one of my cosmology lectures, which only 107 people have looked at so far, but it's about what will happen to you if you are not doing work to safeguard the future of your immortal soul. And these things. These videos are aids to opening your eyes to your actual position in the universe. And it's not something that someone can approach cold turkey because it wouldn't be believed. But if you're following my stuff, you're probably prepared enough to at least consider that it might be true. And hopefully it will motivate somebody to step up in the area of replacing the cloned avatars. I'm 65. In my dream world, I'm going to live till I'm 95, but not many people do. The people that I listen to are at least 10 years older than me, some of them 20, so they're 75, 85. And people are disappearing one by one. We just lost Bob Beck, for example. Mysteriously fell over and cracked his head open, although he's a pilot, and pilots have better balance than anybody. And other oldsters who have stunning quality videos out on YouTube who just died of old age. So someone needs to step in and fill their shoes to keep this thing going in the midst of the generation that was raised on television. Hopefully that person is within the reach of my voice.